Alright, so this is a deck we had played once before, and it was sweet last time we played it. So it is a Sedgemoor Witch deck here, with a variety of reasonable instant sorcery. We've got Rebirth and Village Rites. Vanishing Verse is easily the best 2-mana removal spell in Standard 22. Things like Hunt for Specimens are 2 spells in 1. And even Professor of Symbology is a creature that's also an instant or sorcery for Witch. Prosperous Innkeeper here is a card that helps us gain life for things like Cleric of Lifespond as well as Moondancer here. And another thing that Innkeeper does that's really sweet is with Innkeeper, you can play Witch on 3 while still having that treasure token up, and the treasure token lets you protect Witch with things like Malakir Rebirth. Hiding down here in our 1-mana spells, while this can be a 1-mana Dean, the 4-mana Dean on the backside is the real reason we're playing this card. So whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and those creatures gain trample. So the backside of this is very good with both Innkeeper and Cleric of Lifespond, as well as the pest tokens dying to gain us life, because we'll go wide with our board, and then the Dean of the Root here can make that board very tall on the backside. On the front side, this is also an enabler, and it's a cheap card you can play to fill curve if you want, but we're largely playing this for Lisette, not Valentin. Let's go ahead and dive on into some ranked games here with this, and see how it goes today. I think Poet Quill not making an extra body and not triggering Witch makes it not good enough. We already have Lisette to give our large Moondancers trample, so I don't really know that like the trample effect from that is filling a role. I think I'd rather have the Pest on average. Especially when you consider one of the cards we're fishing out of the sideboard with some consistency is Necrotic Fumes. Being able to use Pest to grab Necrotic Fumes has a lot of value. So she's a Cleric, so I think because this is a Cleric, we're going to go ahead and lead on Cleric of Lifespond here. And we'll go this into this. Hey, glad to hear that, Cheetos. Hopefully he feels better soon. Thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. Ooh. A Cleric and battlefield under your control, you get a life. So, if I do this, I can then do this off the treasure token. I don't really have enough bodies for Village Rites yet, so let's bottom that. I think I'm in for a land. You misunderstanding how lessons work. Why do we only have 1 Fumes? Why do I want more than 1 Fumes? In my experience, I don't need a ton of removal. I'd much rather have more copies of Pest Summoning. Double Blizzard Brawl in to draw a card is very good here. This is easily the best card. No, that's what you're misunderstanding. In best of 1, you only have a 7-card sideboard. So you missed that rules update, is what you missed. So next turn, honestly, next turn we want to draw untapped land. If we draw untapped land, we can go Dean into pump up the board. And the following turn, we can go Pest into double pump. Yeah, nice. If they don't have another fight spell here, they're in a lot of trouble. If they can kill Innkeeper, we're about at parity, but if they can't kill Innkeeper, we're going to pump the jam way up next turn. And they know about the Pest Summoning here, because we learned for it. So they're like in the tank trying to figure out how do they get out of this. Because they know the GM being pumped up is coming. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Cadillac's good enough for them here. I think we just chill, especially with this Professor of Symbology draw. So we're like, gonna Professor, gain a life, put a counters on things, grab another Pest Summoning. And then honestly, we'll have extra mana left over. We probably just start pushing with Pest tokens, because if they kill them, we gain life, and then we pump up everything that's left over again. This is one of the things that impressed me about this deck that we're playing. Like, our opponent's start was very good this game, right? Like, they had double Blizzard Brawl to stop our early setup. And we're like, gonna outgrind Ranger classes and Chariots here. Well, Brawl would let them kill Innkeeper, and killing Innkeeper would give them some flexibility, because we wouldn't have life gain on demand anymore. 5 Aloes, thanks for the entire year of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Welcome back. Why no attack there? Because here, let me answer your question with a question. Who do you think is winning this game if this game goes longer? It's not even about there's no wrong way. I think it's just like not right to attack there. It's all about the role assessment, right? What is going on here and why? Who's winning as the game goes long? And the answer is assuredly us. You're gonna chill for one more turn. Camarel, thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Well, they do have Rangers class at level 3 here, so they have a decent Rangers class turn or two. And drawing 3 with Rangers class is definitely a bit above average. So I'm gonna start getting frisky next turn after we cast Overrun. Honestly, untapped land tier would be another good draw, yeah. Good variation of this will be good in best of 3? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're out of creatures at this point. This is just a you figure it out turn, right? I have 3 blockers left over. It's gotta be lethal. Yeah, I don't know. Figure it out. Send in the squad. We could count it, but that's gonna take a while. I'm not here to count things, chat. Arena will figure out the math. The math's not up to us. All these things trample, like... I'm always glad when we get to do the thing in the very first game. Strong showing for our deck to start. Hopefully this one is sweet again. This is our second time playing this one. It's one of the many decks you could find sets with up on my YouTube channel. Hopefully we'll have another good one here to add to it today. You can re-roll 1 daily quest per day. So you should always re-roll... the what's it called? You should always re-roll the 750 gold... or the 500 gold quests to try and get 750 gold quests. Hey, Forget. Thanks for the 19 months. Welcome back. Do I want second green or second black? Probably second green, right? Because we have the 4-drop. Morning, Dr. Jazzin. We'll do this pre-combat because it pumps up the Cleric of Life Spawned. This Innkeeper is so much less offensive than the previous one. This is a little aggressive, but they're a control deck and I need to kill them before they get to Blood on the Snow and other scary things, so... just, like, take their blocker out of the way here. And then, when they do this and try and kill one of my Prosperous Innkeepers, we'll Village Rites to sacrifice it. Now, they do have a treasure token here now. So, they could Blood on the Snow us next turn. I think this is a basic conjuring, as opposed to a Pest Summoning. Kind of like to find, like, a witch. The black-white control deck is very good. CGB had a good run with it in some content. We had a good run with it in some content. It's definitely a real part of the format, I think, at this point. So, not using the treasure token for conjuring here because I want to be able to Village Rites if they have a sweeper. Does black-white have a good dragons matchup? I don't know. I feel like I would expect that matchup to be a little bit hard. Just because they have a lot of counterspells for your big things. And this is, you know, kind of a good example of wrong half problem. One of the things I think that's kind of in a bad spot about this deck that we're currently playing is that mid-range decks do really struggle in best of one. So our deck has a number of deck building decisions that make it mediocre against these controlling decks, so we're playing interaction for things like mono green and mono white. If this was a post-board game, these cards would not be in my deck, but because it's not, I basically just have a bunch of cards that are textless here. So, our deck, our archetype that we're currently playing is definitely polarized against aggressive decks, and weak to these control / go over the top decks. And I don't think it's correct to change our deck to be better against the controlling decks game 1. I think I'd rather just punt these matchups and be good into the aggressive decks and the... Honestly, the other this deck's decent into their mid-range decks too. Like someone mentioned Blue-Red Dragons a little bit ago. Our interactive tools are very good there as well. So it's like the blue-black control and black-white control are the things that are really going to give this archetype a hard time. Thanks for the 10 months, Burn. I appreciate you dropping off the sub support, even if you watch mostly on YouTube. Thanks for keeping me around making stuff. Thank you for the over 3 years, Slacker. It's a long time. I think it's pretty good. We don't want to play this as a 1-drop anyways. And hey, look, another mono green matchup. So this is what we're built for. No blocks. And then another land draw here is actually great, because it means I get to go Cleric of Lifespawn tier, pump this up, and then Innkeeper means that I can go Dean on 4, trigger Dean on 4, pay a mana. Thanks for the 2 years, Mafia. Welcome back. Good morning. And then these are both clerics. So next turn when these come into play, they'll trigger both of these to trigger the Dean twice. So we'll get to pump the board by 2/2 next turn. I didn't attack, so I just want a bunch of chunky blockers on defense. I think we're in a spot here where we're very favored as this game goes along. So I just want to like play defensively to make sure our opponent doesn't steal the game because we get too aggressive. So we'll go ahead and Moon Dancer. Yeah, we're only doing one of these next turn. I'm saying we could do either. Yes, Abzan Witch won the deck voting, Matt. Vanishing Verse is happy to keep on top. There isn't a best of 3 option for this format, Toxic. So I would greatly prefer to play best of 3. But there isn't a best of 3 queue for standard 22. And Historic is in a lame duck state until we get new cards on the 12th. And regular standard is not a format I have a lot of interest in playing at the moment. So if this format had a best of 3 queue, I would not play best of 1 ever. I think Magic is a much better best of 3 game. That being said, this format is good enough that it's worth playing best of 1 rather than playing the other formats that are offered in best of 3 options currently. Come at me, cat car. So, am I okay trading Cleric of Lifespawn for Azeka's Chariot plus Brawl? I don't think so. I think we just no blocks, yeah. I think we just no blocks, and then next turn we Professor. Wait, what? They didn't deal damage yet. I mean, okay. Well, the opponent missed some damage. think I'm in for Hunt for Specimens over a random here. And I think I'm going to take Basic Conjuring off the top, or off the learn here, so that way we can dig for another Dean. They didn't wait for their second main phase because they made a mistake. Because Magic's a complicated game with a lot of moving pieces, so they missed the play. Do I care about Ranger class? Like, Ranger's class is going to encourage them to make attacks into my better board state, right? Like, maybe if they paid a level Ranger's class to 3 here, we'll get rid of it, but I feel like Ranger's class is going to encourage bad decisions on their part. Now, there could be value in just getting rid of it here because I need to spend my mana this turn. That's probably true. Mommy's home. Our creatures are so thick against this green deck. Yeah, they're counting, but like, we're at 25, so count away. And like, she's a 4/4 for 4 on her baseline stats, right? So the 34 Monstron player, welcome back. Goodbye, friend. Would Morality Spear be an okay substitute over Vanishing Verse? Oh, it's close-ish. It's not strictly worse. That being said, as you acquire more wild cards, Vanishing Verse is a very good craft. It sees play in Historic, and it's almost assuredly one of the best removal spells in the format. Mortality Spear, sorry, not Morality. This hand's so good if I had a black source. I think we got a mulligan. Mana's just awkward. Cost of playing 3 colors. Yeah, this is fine. Bottom this pathway. Great draw here. Go this into this again. Pokemon Unite's so good, Dual Josh. I'm excited for that game to come to mobile too, because I think it's gonna make it explode when it does. The core gameplay is just fantastic. We're gonna play some more of that at the end of the stream today. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming in September. Play a Cleric, gain some life. What do we want to get with the learn here? Is it just pests? It could be conjuration to dig for some creatures. Well, I have more learns coming up here too. So I think I'm gonna get basic conjuration to not let them know that I have that coming. Yes, my plan for spoiler review is to do a daily spoiler review at the end of my Magic segments from now on. So you can expect spoilers to be talked about 12:30, 12:45 each day on stream. And they'll have their own video each day on YouTube as well, like I've been doing. They're almost assuredly playing the Bounce Learn spell. Oh, this is that Giants deck. Refinement, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I think we're doing this to pump these up. Am I interested in a land? I think I am. I guess I could also just grab environmental sciences here. Huh. I have the land on top. I haven't played a land yet this turn, no. I think I want a sciences. And I think I attack with everything here. Because this way they have to choose between like double blocking to trade one of these here or eating my 2/1. They're also almost assuredly playing the Cyclone Giant deck. So, like, trading aggressively with my stuff before they can bounce it also has a lot of value. We are certainly the beatdowns here. Agent Orange, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. Good morning, good morning. Alright, so I assume they're about to bounce my board here. Yeah. We'll go Witch into Hunt for Specimens. Grab Fumes here. Yeah, this one's been sweet orange. Our second time playing it. It's been good. Been good both times. It's definitely the exact style of deck I like playing. Like, kind of interactive, mid-rangey, but also has some grind to it. Cat is pretty good here. Okay, so I think we Witch into Fumes the Summoner. No! Don't select my foil one. I want to get rid of the non-foil one. Chat, look, I am very clearly clicking on the non-foil pest. And Magic Arena is selecting the foil one. I need to go file a bug report. Hold on, this is unacceptable. This is just wrong. Layer of the Hydra, looking kind of scary in the ramp deck. Opponent's deck is sweet. I should make a point to import the blue-green ramp deck. I'll put that in the deck queue so I remember. Okay, so they're about to play a giant. Are they? I'm gonna chump block these two just in case they're about to play a giant, but they technically don't have enough mana to do it yet. But they could go land Cyclone here. Oh, Aldrin's Epiphany, sure. Such a good play pattern. Yep. And this is the part where they're gonna take another turn now, right? They have seven mana up, so one of these other 3 cards in their hand is gonna take another turn on us. Feels magic, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't always audibly sigh, but the feeling is there. Definitely one of the more frustrating aspects of the format. So, in Standard, I actually think Aldrin's Epiphany is frequently better than Time Warp would be. The extra mana is trivial, and the birds are not trivial. The birds are worth a lot. Yes, being able to foretell and hide... Like, I can't even just play discard spells in this deck to stop the Epiphanies because they just don't do anything, right? They get to hide them. I mean, Wizards doesn't rebalance cards, so no, there's not anything they can do. Okay, so... we hit the Dean. So next turn, the Dean lets us go Dean of the Root into this, gain life off of this. I think we just pass here. Yeah, I really hope the direction we're heading in with Historic is we're going to start getting digital rebalances. They've introduced digital-only cards. They tested digital rebalances a little bit. Getting more of that type of effect is the logical next conclusion. Alright, they have 6 mana available here. Okay. Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing about rebalances. You don't have to get them right the first time because you can rebalance again later. Do I want Containment Breach for the Chariot, or do I want Pest tokens? I think I just want Pest tokens at this point, because these things are bigger than the Chariot. It's been kind of a sick game. We're keeping up nicely here. Am I dead on board? I actually didn't count if we're dead on board. We might be. They're fairly wide at this point. If we're not dead on board, we have an absurd turn next turn. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have to block this into something. So if I block this here, I'm taking 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then they're dead on the backswing, right? 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count that again. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opponent decided math was for blockers. Yeah, my opponent didn't count. I think we were ahead here, but my opponent did not have to attack this turn, and they did, and now they're dead. Good stuff, good stuff. It's been great, Jim Made. This is our second time playing this deck, and it was excellent last time too. I like what this one is doing a lot. If you like the look of it, I think it's very reasonable. I think it's really terrible into control decks, but it's good. It's good otherwise. This is fine. Not super aggressive, but definitely keepable. Yeah, mono green's still a very popular deck, and this deck has a very reasonable mono green matchup. So blue-black control and black-white control are the somewhat common decks that you're hoping to avoid with this. But I think mono green, mono white, blue-red dragons, other creature-based mid-range and aggressive decks are all very decent matchups for this. Grab some Pest tokens here. Hey, Rosie, thanks for the follow. Rosie, it's Rosie, not Ryuzi. So do I want a Pest Summoning, or do I want to hold up Vanishing Verse? This makes 1/1s when it attacks if it triggers, so I think I'm just passing holding up Verse. It's not very resource efficient, though. I'm gonna pass. We could Soul Shatter this turn too, I suppose. We wanted to be resource efficient. I'm gonna trade with this now, rather than they continue to sit here and take damage from it. It's not a terrible pickup. This means we can go toe-to-toe with the token generation here. So a small mistake on my opponent's part here. They definitely should have waited on activating this a second time. They would have dealt 2 more points of damage here. Looks like they realized their mistake from last time. Okay, so I think we just trade off boards here, basically, right? Should I have blocked one of the 1/1s last turn? Yeah, probably. Man, only having 1 white is a little rough. None of their things were 1/1, Scissor. All of their things had extra attack. Yeah, I think we do this and go grab a white mana at this point. And this gains us life, which lets us trigger this. Well, so about these village rites. The villagers demand a ritual, right? Yeah, I think we're solidly ahead at this point. This'll lock it up for sure. Alright, we're done here. We'll kill them next turn with this. We need more village lefts. No Muxus here to speak of or worry about. We go first. Yeah, Essian's pretty good. This is a land. So we have black, green, white, all of our colors. We do this so we can scry towards our next land. Perfect. Next turn we get to go Sedgemoor into Hunt for Specimens off the treasure. Pump up the Moondancer Jam a whole bunch. I think almost all of the rare wild cards in this deck outside of the Black-Green Dean are just generically good card, Possedet. So from are they potentially wasted in the long term? I think you're pretty safe to craft most of the stuff in here. But if you're someone who prefers to play Historic, you should definitely be saving wild cards for Jumpstart. So it depends on what your preference is as a player, I think. Pengu Power with the 64 months. One of the OGs, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We're just kind of just looking for lands here at this point, right? Oh, but also that. Huh, am I supposed to bottom that looking for a land? That can't possibly be right. Mama's here. Can't bottom Mama, chat. Yeah. Okay, if you're someone who enjoys Standard, I think this deck's a sweet craft. But if you're not someone that enjoys Standard and you're more of a Historic player, I'd wait. My body is ready to get Cyclone Giant in next turn. I'm gonna bottom that one looking for lands. Yeah, if they don't have Cyclone Giant, they're going for a pretty big World of Hurt here. That's not a Cyclone Giant, chat. What lovely specimens we shall hunt for. I'm just gonna say 15 for that username. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Just looking for lands at this point. Ready to plow. So this is 14 plus 8 is 22. They're at 21, so they have to block with at least 2 creatures here. And again, I want to just be proactive and smash here because they're definitely playing the Cyclone Giant, so I want to get my pressure in before they can send it back to our hand. This is our first arena deck, yep. We usually start arena about 9:30, 10 o'clock silver. New goal is described for 2022 months. Here's hoping. Now, it's probably more years than I'll be alive, right? It's a lot of years. It's for the 33 Fish Lamp. Welcome back. Okay. They are at 1. And this is definitely birds here, right? Why did they... Oh, the treasures were going to get sacrificed, are going to go away anyways. Got it. I was like, why'd they do that? Because, man, how many non-lands have we bottomed this game? 3? So we do this into Sedgemoor Witch or into Dancer. Probably Tiny Dancer, so that way we can dig for more lands. So we need lands to vomit our hand out here. Do I just play this Menace out here? I'm not going to have time to get Dean of the Root going again this game, right? I guess I'm going to use this mana next turn anyways, though. Okay, we'll pass. They're about to draw a bunch of cards too, though, is the scary part. Hey, Gran, thanks for the half a year. Been to Kansas City a few times. Yep. Well, this is a draw 3. This is happening sometime soon. Second white. I have 6 mana. So this effectively costs 1. Because it makes a treasure. Just looking for lands. Stay there. Cleric only grows once per turn. So people wondering why I waited to play the Cleric out, I waited because it didn't matter. Actually, it's just strictly optimal because I wanted Cleric to trigger the second Innkeeper to grow the Moon Dancer. I think we want to go wide here, right? So we'll just grab another Pest Summoning. Oh, this is... I always mess that up. You know, you're right. This is the first time you gain life in the turn, not the first time it sees you gain life. I always mix those two up. I'm not sure if that's optimal or not, but it definitely wasn't something I was thinking about. If we could dodge a second Cyclone Summoner, we're in an okay spot here. But if they have a second one, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, the templating on Cleric of Lifespawn's a little awkward. For sure. Yeah, it's close. Like, their deck has bounce effects in it, so, like... Teachings is so good in their deck. Yeah, I actually just threw the Simic deck in the deck queue. It's on my list of things we haven't played yet. That seems sweet. Alright, so... I'm gonna open on Milady here and see what they do. They haven't played any... They played 1 Divide by 0, so this could just be getting divided by 0. They could also be holding the Divide by 0 for the Tiny Dancer. I'm aware that we were unlucky when we stumbled despite having scryed 1 several times. You are correct. A big part of why my opponent is in this game is because we stumbled despite card selection. What cleric is not good enough? There's like 3 clerics on the battlefield you need to specify. Get into that one, actually. Oh, I should have played the land first. I have to burn my treasure now. That was a mistake. It's a pretty big mistake, actually. Nah, Cleric of Lifespawn's absurd. I think you should watch more games of the deck if you think you want to cut it. I'm gonna attack with just this and see what they do. I don't want to attack with everything, because if they have Divide by 0, I just get in all sorts of trouble. Not only do we have plenty of clerics, but we have plenty of ways to gain life, too. So, like, even when we don't have clerics, we have other ways to trigger to make this bigger. These two are excellent together. Wow, they didn't have it. Maybe I'm supposed to be more aggressive there. Oh, they have it, and they're just resetting their own thing. That's gross. Well, the fact that we spewed the treasure token didn't matter. Guess I should have kept bottoming looking for lands. Nah, I'm not soul shattering. I'm rebuilding my board. I think it's important that I get Tiny Dancer back into play here. I'm looking for an untapped land here. Perfect. Yeah, I should have done this last turn. I should have another land in play right now. This game has been very silly. You are not wrong. Thankfully, Mama's coming home next turn. Is Mama coming home next turn, or do I want to go wider? It might be right to go wide next turn, and then Mama the turn after. Mama just killed a man. Do 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 do. Is like Tiny Dancer is still gonna get all grown up here, right? So like I'll still have one big beef to All of the untapped lands, please. I'd like an untapped black at some point, but beggars shan't be choosers. Okay, so in order to kill this, they would have to block with, this is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They could make their Hydra a 3. I'm just gonna hold her back. They need to reset the board again. Oh yeah, no trample. Good call. There's no way we don't get gianted here again, right? They get 6 looks at another Cyclone Summoner. They can also take an extra turn. Well, they still have enough mana to Cyclone Summoner or take turns. Well... Did the opponent just dig through time? They did, yeah. That is actually exactly what happened. Wait, why didn't they bounce that in response to the Innkeeper triggers? I'm so confused. I might be right to get aggressive with these pest tokens. Keeping them back. Well, I guess they have a bunch of X4s, so no, I'm supposed to wait. The opponent definitely punted their timing there. Oh yeah, they could have royaled their Cyclone Summoner, right? Okay, and I think I just Professor here. Because if they bounce the Professor, I get to learn again, right? And this gains me a little bit of life as well, so might as well. I'm happy with the card I have on top. We might as well gain 3 and learn. Shatter costs 3 mana. I do not have 3 mana. I did before the last bomb activation. No, I wanted to pump my board as much as possible. Man, if they're just if casting Mascot Exhibition is the best they could do here. Okay. I mean, Mama's coming home next turn. Alright, so they're super dead, right? Mama just killed a man. I don't know how to transition that verse to my board of 1/1 counters though. And I can't parody it quickly offhand. She gave the board trample, now they're dead. Doo doo. Doo 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 doo. Holy 1/1 counters, Batman. And now they've gone and conceded the game. My board's huge. It's so big now. Look at that. It took me. I didn't get it in the moment, but we got it. We got it after the fact. I'm gonna count that as nailing it. It took me a minute, but the quality was there. I got your casual stream right here. Looking for some lands. Again, to the person earlier who suggested cutting Cleric of Lifespawn, I'd encourage you to look at the start. No, Moon Dancer, this is Tiny Dancer, chat. Mama is Lisette. Yeah, Mama Dean. And if Lisette is Dean, I think you can make an argument that Cleric of Lifespawn is Sam. I have to say, I really love the way the mana bases have worked out in this format. The learn cards with environmental science and the treasure tokens off of things like Innkeeper have really provided good, consistent mana in a way that I didn't think was going to be possible. Really feels like they nailed that aspect of this format. Very, very satisfying mana building. Yeah, the Snarls, you should think of the Snarls in this deck as effectively tapped dual lands. It's what they are. They're dual lands that come into play tapped. They are very rarely untapped, but they're largely just 6 come into play tapped lands. If you don't want to spend wild cards on the Snarls and you want to build this deck, just play more of the Snow Dual lands. They're really not that much worse. The Snarls are often tapped. So if you want to play this and you don't want to craft Snarls, I don't blame you. Don't craft them. Like here, right? Like if this was a green-black Snow Dual, like it's actually just no different. Well, so the Black-White Angels deck, to put a damper on your parade, I would argue that that's actually very different. So the Black-White Angels deck is a deck that actually contains a lot of basic lands, so it is meaningfully different to play Snow Duels as opposed to Snarls there. Like, obviously, for budget, do what you gotta do, but in this deck, where we're playing 12 pathways or however many pathways that we have. These are very rarely untapped. In the Angels deck, the Snarls are frequently untapped lands. There's a very important distinction there that's worth making. I'm gonna grab Basic Conjuring here. Dig for a Tiny Dancer, I think. Or an Innkeeper. Just gonna go ahead and Soul Shatter here and keep their board clear. They won the die roll, but they didn't do anything in the first 2 turns, which is good for us. There's a friend. Second black or second white. Based on this hand, I think I want second black. Got a bunch of hunt for specimens. So we'll go Innkeeper into make this vanish. Attack for 2. What's going on, Tires? Remember, if my live schedule doesn't line up for you, you can always check out the YouTube stuff as well. Everything that's worth watching ends up there in its own video. And there's our second white. Love to see it. So we'll go ahead and play Mama out and pump up the board here. Hang on to Innkeeper for now. Yes, this deck is very good at using all of its mana every turn. Something that's definitely the case. Moments before the disaster, chat. Haha, opponent, you've activated my trap card. Vokkai, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Bye, friend. Man, this Spellbinder card seems really bad. You cast it and then you concede? How would people play that? Yeah, the trample on Lisette is real strong. Mama gives overrun, and she ain't screwing around yet. I guess we keep... I'm going to lead on this for black. I'm going to hold the plains, because if we draw a Snarl, the plains can put the Snarl into play untapped. Black-white Snarl, specifically. Do I want to play this, actually? Actually, you know what? We're on the play. Let's do it. Let's go Dean into Cleric of Life's Bond. We can attack and trigger this on 2. It's for the 14 months, Ken. Good morning, good morning. Yes, we're pretty far off of green is accurate. He's very, very scary Dean shit. Well, it's not the land I wanted for Christmas, but... This is getting a trigger anyways, but this starts building up a second one. They're probably that stupid blue-green bounce all my stuff deck, though, so I think I'm supposed to prioritize getting my land drops going here. Man, big Sakura Tribuilder vibes from this card, huh? Yeah, I think it's important that we grab environmental sciences here so that way we can start hitting land drops. Arena deck list donations are $50, Scout. Okay, so with this draw, I think we play Tiny Dancer to start scrying towards more land drops organically. Thanks for the follow, Hitman. Goodbye, friend. Sure, road to number 1, something like that. I don't know, whatever this month qualifies for is probably a regular standard tournament that I have no desire to play in, so I don't think our rank really matters. Morning, Gout. Thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. This is probably going to be a land unless we hit some runners here. What a lovely Tiny Dancer. The selection from this card is just so good. This deck's, like, really consistent despite being 3 colors, which is great. I think if they counterspell this, I'm gonna play the Black Dean here. I'm gonna Rites the Dancer here, because it denies them the ability to learn. Man, and we missed the land drop still. That's so brutal. Never lucky. Our deck's playing 24 lands, right? We have 21 plus 3 of these. Or is it 25? Are we 22 plus 3 of these? Or 24, according to my tapped out. I definitely want a double spell here. Okay, so this getting counterspelled implies to me that this card here is not a sweeper. They could still draw a Doomscar and cast it for 5, but I don't think this is a sweeper. Big sad. Like I mentioned, I do think this deck has a bad control matchup. That being said, this game we haven't drawn any of our cards that are terrible against control at least, so got a little bit of pressure on him. Ah, yes, the classic Skyclave Apparition Doomscar deck. So this is an extra turn or another Doomscar. My read could be wrong. There's one of those cards I mentioned that's terrible in this matchup. They're also missing land drops, so we know they have 3 spells in hand right now. Okay. If we draw something that gains life, they're dead. Rats. And then this is unfortunately an extra turn spell, right? So they're going to make some bird blockers. El Gordono, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. This does protect Lisette against another sweeper, at least. That is true.
I'll learn much from your failure here today. Ah, my faithful hound.
Yes, unfortunately, if you rebirth her, she does come back on the other side, so it's not quite as good with her. You always come back on the front side. And again, like, it wasn't even that, just, I cannot stress enough how much better this card is than actual Time Warp in Historic. Because, like, if they hadn't had birds here, this card would have done literal nothing here on this board. But instead, they had a thing that made birds, so now it goes from doing literal nothing to building their board, plus untapping all of their lands so they're not dead. And then I imagine as Mordekaiser ticks up, we're slipping into garbage time here. Our opponent's going to have to be very unlucky for us to come back from this position. Alright, give us something to trigger Cleric of Lifespond here. McNox, thanks for the 27 months. Welcome back. And we'll draw another land. Plumb the Forbidden is a dog trash card that you should not be playing. So Plumb the Forbidden is a card that's very good when you are winning more, and it's very bad when you are not winning more. So if you have your witch in play, and your witch is surviving and you're making a bunch of creatures with it, you're probably winning the game anyways. So you might as well have a card that's marginally worse. And when you're not winning the game, Village Rites is much better as a catch-up card. Its resources are much more efficient, especially in a deck that frequently has treasure tokens running around. It's for the 5-month Starlet. Alright, we could just concede at this point, right? I'll take one more draw step, I guess, but I get to see 5 cards next turn or something silly. Definitely conceding to another Time Warp. There's a good chance that that happens. Honestly, one of the biggest downsides to the deck that we're playing being 3 colors isn't even the consistency in the mana base. It's the fact that our deck doesn't get to play creature lands. So far, if we had a creature land that game, we would have won that game very easily because they had like exactly enough blockers we would have had lethal. If I were to add a land, what would I add and what would I cut? I wouldn't add a land. I think our deck has 24 lands in it. It curves out at 3. It has a bunch of scrying. It has the ability to make treasures. It draws extra cards with things like Village Rites. I think Magic's the highest variance card game that's ever been created, and you're going to lose sometimes because you don't draw lands quickly enough. And you shouldn't knee-jerk change your deck every time that happens, because you'll make your deck much worse by doing that. I think we already see in Standard 22 where you see people playing Deadly Dispute as opposed to Village Rites. There's a lot of decks that have like a Treasures Matter sub-theme where where Deadly Dispute is very good. Deadly Dispute is also better in decks that have a hard time hitting their... It's better in decks that have a hard time hitting creatures consistently, because the first Deadly Dispute makes a treasure to enable the second. Oh no! We've missed our third land drop for the second game in a row. I should definitely change my deck now. This is the empirical evidence we needed to make statistically bad decisions. And hey, look, Tiny Dancer got us to our next land drop here, which is nice. We're not playing 21 lands. We're playing 23 lands. We have three spell lands. Our land count is more than fine. I think if you felt compelled to make statistically poor decisions, you could add another Malakir Rebirth if you really wanted, because Malakir Rebirth's a fine spell in this deck. And it's like adding a spell, not necessarily adding a land. I don't know, you probably cut a Soul Shatter or the third Village Rites. I think it's Pest Summoning here. Bottom of tapped land at this point. Oh, feels bad, man. And again, going back to that, this deck likely isn't optimal in a best of one setting. I have all of these reactive cards choked up here in my hand that aren't great against the second control deck we're playing in a row now. Opponent has a minimum of 5 spells in their hand right now, which is scary. Monotone, thanks for the 18 months. Welcome back. Maybe they'll drop some dragons at some point these can be relevant against. Honestly, maybe we're just supposed to cut the Soul Shatters for other proactive cards and just lean on 4 Vanishing Verse as our interaction. Could definitely see that being the case. Maybe that's the appropriate conclusion. I don't know that you necessarily want, you know, more Malakir Rebirth / mana, but having more ways to be proactive in these matchups would feel good. Like if this was a card that was beating down. Yeah, that's a good thought. Umbral Juke is a card that I've been a fan of. Puts bodies down. If this was a Juke here, they'd probably be dead by now. Little bit worse against things like Mono Green, but Soul Shatter's not even that good against things like Mono Green, if we're being honest with ourselves. Deadly Brew. I don't know what that card does. Did someone pull up Deadly Brew text for me? But like give Death Touch and Cantrip or something. Each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. If you sacrifice a permanent this may return another permanent from your graveyard to your hand. Huh, that's kind of cute. I don't hate that. Alright, so you have something. God, what a tilter that we can't even kill our own thing here. We could have killed our own pest token. We'd have gotten him there. What crappy removal. Well, they haven't suspended a... They haven't suspended a turn card yet. If I could have killed my own creature, I could have killed a pest token to gain a life to make this a 3/3 so it doesn't die to the shock. I think we just accept that we're dead to another Draconic Intervention. I think it's better to play around spot removal as well as a land extra turn spell here. Thanks for the 4 months, Mueller. Welcome back. The fact that Deadly Brew is a sorcery probably makes it not good enough. Two mana's a lot for that effect. I think I like Umbral Juke better. Alright. Opponents in the tank. Either their cat is, like, knocked their drink off the table or they don't have the sweeper. Okay. Let's replace these Soul Shatters with Jukes. I think I like that idea. Gakord, thanks for the Prime support. There's a ton of great people making a ton of great stuff here on Twitch that you can support every month with that. Thanks for supporting me this month. They tried. This is fine. Not amazing, but fine. Needs a third land here. I haven't been paying attention to usernames. Did this deck do something that a bunch of people started playing it? Or just like, it's been really popular today. Unless this is not the... I guess it's not necessarily the blue-green ramp deck, but we played against the blue-green ramp deck a ton today. It's definitely an environmental sciences game. Onboard tricks, chat. We'll be okay. We'll survive. Hey, hey. And I'm okay to trade Tiny Dancer for the Faceless Haven here. They're missing land drops. I don't have a consistent way to gain life in this hand. I think that exchange is fine for us. This is where the magic happens, chat. This is so. I would like to conclude utilizing empirical evidence that Umbral Juke is very good, because we have a 100% win rate with it. Zalal, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. I think we're gonna wrap on this one. I've been playing for over 90 minutes now. For anybody that's new to the channel like Zalal, welcome. We play a ton of different decks here usually. I'm usually here doing magic stuff for 4 or 5 hours a day each day. I try to do 2 to 3 different decks every single day, so we don't sit on one thing for too long, even if it's sweet. If you haven't seen this deck before, you should check out my YouTube channel. There is a playlist on the front page there with a bunch of standard 22 decks that includes this and a bunch of other things that have been sweet. I think I like where we ended up at with this one. The mana works really well because you have Innkeeper with small amounts of fixing and Symbology for Sciences with small amounts of fixing. One of the things that's always really impressive with this deck is it's just so good at using all of its mana every turn because of the learn cards, even though it has a very low curve. The, Moon Dancer, Life Spawn, plus Dina the Root here gives us very aggressive draws, which is lovely. Pest Summoning is so good out of the sideboard with both Hunt and Professor. Man. So, yeah. Alright, what do I do? What do I do for the second deck today? I think I want to play some dragons.